Hello and welcome to the Carbon Copy podcast Running Out of Time special. I'm Isabel Sparrow, and in today's episode we rejoin the climate relay in Leeds in the heart of Yorkshire. We're bringing you the official podcast for Running Out of Time this year, so please do subscribe if you're keen to hear the next episodes as soon as they're released. In this Leeds-focused episode, we'll hear from City Councillor Mohammed Rafique about work happening in the city to improve sustainability, and from some of the people involved with the relay on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll also share a chat with the Climate Coalition's Executive Director, Helen Meech, as communities around the country celebrate Great Big Green Week and get prepared to vote in the UK general election. First, we catch up with the relay crew and hear about some of the people they've met over the past couple of days.
So, school visits, we did 4 in Leeds and 1 in Castleford. In total, involved, we had 2 more, 4 more, 6 more. So in total, we had 11, I think, involved, maybe 12 across the whole thing. Yeah, so we got some schools like running a stage. There was one teacher who signed up, and then he never actually messaged me, he just signed up. And yesterday I texted him to check he was ready. He was like, yeah, the kids are ready to go. And he was running a stage with like 15 kids at high vis. We had a guy come down with 2 sixth formers. They just came down to run a stage, the same one. So Rasheen ran that with them. And then along the way, between the first 2 schools we went to, we went through a school. So the baton went kind of in one gate all the way around. All the kids were out, passed all the way around, and then came out the other gate. And then we kept on running.
So many schools and such a fantastic opportunity to share the message of the relay with more people. The Climate Coalition are one of the relay's lead partners and authors of the message in the baton. Our next guest, Helen Meech, is their executive director. Here she is talking about some of the key campaigns they're focusing on this year, as well as sharing a couple of fantastic examples of communities taking action together in different places in the UK.
Hello, my name's Helen Meech and I'm the executive director at the Climate Coalition. The Climate Coalition was established back in 2005 based on the core belief that people are powerful, especially when we come together. And over the last 20 years, we've grown to be the UK's largest group of people dedicated to action for climate change. We have over 130 members from large household names, including Oxfam, the National Trust and the Women's Institute, through to grassroots community groups, all taking action for climate and nature. So you might have heard it's going to be a general election soon. So one of the things we're working on is showing the public mandate for action on nature and climate. Public support for strong action on nature and climate is mainstream. 83% of people in the UK think government should do more to tackle climate change. And yet we consistently underestimate the extent to which others care and are willing to act. But the truth is that people across the UK are already taking action to tackle climate change and to protect nature. And we believe it's time for politicians to follow suit and to commit to ambitious action ahead of the election and in this critical decade for our planet. And so we're calling on all political parties to commit to cut emissions, restore nature and support the hardest hit at home and around the world. And we're calling this campaign United for People, Climate and Nature. And this week is Great Big Green Week. It's the UK's biggest ever celebration of community action to tackle climate change and protect nature. And over the course of this week, we're going to see communities, schools, businesses, churches, lots and more joining together in a wave of support for action to protect the planet. Great Big Green Week this year is going to see all kinds of community events take place, and we're celebrating swaps, from swapping clothes or swapping books to swapping skills in allotments or upcycling workshops, or swapping knowledge on discussion panels or at wildlife reserves. And over the course of the week, on either side, we're collecting and telling those stories of the swaps people and communities are making every day to create a greener, safer future. And we want to help show politicians why it's time that they follow suit and commit to urgent action. By taking action in every corner of our communities at the same time, politicians are going to be unable to ignore that their constituents care about this stuff. They care about tackling climate change, indeed acting for it and for nature. We are super excited to be partnering with the Running Out of Time Relay because it's a brilliant way to showcase the breadth of communities who are taking action this June across the UK. It's the second year we partner with the Relay, and it's the UK's only sporting event for climate and nature, and that's really exciting. Sport can engage in communities in so many new and different ways. So this year, the Relay is going to be visiting some amazing locations, including a wonderful number of schools in places like Manchester and Leeds during Great Big Green Week. And what's particularly special about the Relay is the opportunity it gives to communities, to schools, to councils to highlight all of the amazing projects, commitments and campaigns that they're taking part in, and to tell that local story linked to the huge national mandate for action. So there's a couple of stories that I'd love to share with you that I've come across quite recently. The first is Ambition Lawrence Weston. It is a community on the edge of Bristol who were struggling with the cost of their energy bills. And so they came together, and together they created the largest community wind turbine in England. And it's incredible. It just shows what a community with a kind of a shared goal can come together and achieve. Super inspiring. And it's reducing their energy bills, and they're using clean and green energy. It's a really inspiring project. The other example I'd love to share is there's a project in Manchester, Manchester Urban Diggers. And they have transformed this area of land that wasn't very well loved. It was on the edge of a park a few years ago. People were kind of throwing old chairs in. It was a very unloved space. And over the course of the last 5 to 7 years, they have completely transformed it. They went in and just started growing in there. And then over the pandemic, they went in and they created a bit of a community centre, started off with just a bit of a wooden cover. And then over time, Manchester Urban Diggers have completely transformed that space into a thriving community garden, rich in nature, and it's really benefiting that community. So it's incredible stories of working with refugees who have just arrived in the local area, who food is so important to everybody's culture, but they haven't got space to cook. And so Manchester Urban Diggers, they invite people in. There's a space for them to come and to grow the food that they might have at home, and then to come together and cook it. They might not be able to do that in their temporary accommodation. So it's delivering huge benefits for the local community in terms of community cohesion. It's supporting tackling issues around loneliness and mental health, and it's doing so much for climate and nature as well.
Such great stories. To read more about either of those incredible organisations, check out the show notes. The relay crew mentioned meeting children from several schools in Leeds, and one of those children was the brilliant Mohammed, Leeds' very own children's mayor. Here he is giving his ideas of how to help the environment in his city.
In my manifesto, I have a variety of things I do to help the environment, but my main ones are to abolish pollution, also to increase composting programmes across Leeds, and also to help planting and sustainable transport as well.
The relay baton was not only carried by school children and teachers through Leeds, but also by several keen runners with a passion for the environment. Harry from the relay crew caught up with some of them as they finished their legs to find out more.
Harry from the relay crew here, and with Caitlin and Stefan from Sea Capture. And you've just ran 5K to the Climate Innovation District in Leeds. How do you feel?
Amazing. Yeah, really good. Yeah, it's lovely to get out, a nice day, and enjoy a run in a nice part of Leeds.
Yeah, looking after a good cause. It was brilliant, really happy to be involved.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to ask about. So, yeah, why did you get involved and why is it passionate for you?
Well, we work in green tech, so we're always on the lookout for these kinds of little things that we can get involved in. And when we saw that, one of the stages was literally 2K from our offices. Just seemed silly to not get involved and see what it was all about and, help out a little bit.
And tell us a little bit about Sea Capture as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So we're a company developing a next generation of carbon capture technology. So we started in the University of Leeds about 13, 14 years ago. Some chemists there developed a potential way to reduce the amount of energy required to remove CO2 from industrial gases. Mm-hmm. So we're targeting our technology at industries that don't really have many options for decarbonisation. So industries like the cement industry, there's a lot of inherent CO2 in their production process. So even if they source their energies from a renewable environment, they don't have other ways to remove that CO2 other than using a carbon capture based technology. And what we're looking to develop is a lower cost, lower energy consumption, more environmentally benign technology for that application.
Being from Leeds and working in sort of climate initiatives, are there any particular causes that are close to your heart or anything that you really care about you want to share?
I think working in this kind of industry, it's just any little thing we can do really to help is kind of important to us, trying, reduce our carbon footprint. Both of us are massive runners. We've done ultra things that always with those is related to, looking after nature, looking all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think in general across the city, there's lots of initiatives, whether they're sort of big or small, trying to whether it's raise awareness or just do things that think the city can be changed. That there's been a big increase in the amount of cycle lanes been built recently. There's been a lot of redevelopment right in the city centre to make that more pedestrianised and more bike friendly. So it's definitely nice to see. And yeah, as Caitlin said, we're both very keen to embrace that as much as we can. So yeah, it's really, really nice. I really love living in Leeds and the sort of the atmosphere here around it.
Finally, for this episode, I interviewed Leeds City Councillor Mohammed Rafique to learn more about some of the initiatives and plans for reducing carbon emissions in the city.
Yeah, I'm Councillor Mohammed Rafique, and I'm the Cabinet Member for Climate, Energy, Environment and Green Spaces here in Leeds City Council. Climate is really high up on our agenda. It's one of our 3 sort of breakthrough projects. Our ambition is to be one of the first cities to be net zero, and zero carbon is one of the council 3 pillars, which I mentioned about. It's important that we do everything possible by the council and the wider city as well. Some of the works we've done is we've got one of the award-winning, nationally recognised district heating these pipes scheme, which basically involves waste recycling energy project where all the general waste gets incinerated, and the heat that's generated from that is captured to create low carbon energy, is preserved through the pipes and supports many of our council buildings, but also the public sectors, the universities, the hospitals, and there are many other sort of private sector and projects in the pipeline. We've got an ambitious program to plant 5 million trees over 25 years, which is over, I think, 225,000 a year. Again, one of the biggest in the country. We'll go one of the first solar-powered park and ride scheme in the city as well. In terms of working with our residents, so we've got this Trees for Streets program as well, where people can sponsor a tree on the highway on providing it suitable. So every resident has a way they could actually contribute towards what we do. For the second year running, last year we were recognised as one of the 119 cities across the globe, taking bold leadership in environmental action and transparency, having been awarded an A-graded city by the renowned national authority, the Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP, for the second year running. And that shows, obviously, to compete with the likes of Tokyo and New York and all that is a big achievement for us. But, there's never enough. There's so much to do. And we are always working with our partners to carry on this very important journey.
Thank you so much to all the guests on today's episode. If you've enjoyed listening, do leave us a rating or review. It really does help others find us. The Carbon Copy podcast is presented by me, Isabel Sparrow. Our producer and editor is Bradley Ingham. Additional recording on this episode by the Running Out of Time relay crew. We'll be back tomorrow with our next episode, so until then, goodbye.